enjoyed the last few seconds of the Kenny and Kyle experience. And like we said, we aren't Ben, Brian, and Alex, but my name is Mike Neckers, and joined alongside me is the stupendous Connor Sangus. Give him a wave.
Hi, Mom.
The astonishing Alex Kemnitzer.
Yo, yo.
And the spectacular Sammy Sozio. And
Hi.
he disappeared.
There we are.
Hey. We are so grateful that the guys passed the show down to us, and we're excited to try all the new things and talk sports with all you viewers at home.
Well, boys, it was an electric weekend in the NFL, and we're going to kick things off down in Tampa Bay, where the Buccaneers completely embarrassed Nick Sirianni's Philadelphia Eagles 33-16, leading by as many as 24 points in the second quarter. Connor, what went wrong for Philly?
Well, before I get into it, let me just start by saying this. The Eagles were without their top two wide receivers, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, as well as their starting right tackle, Lane Johnson. Now, with all that being said, Philadelphia still allowed 445 yards of total offense.
Yeah, no. There was one stat in the middle of the third quarter where there were 15 missed tackles by the Eagles defense, and I think the lack of discipline is very apparent from Coach Sirianni, and I think that defense needs a lot of help.
No, I agree with you. I agree. Discipline is a very big thing, but I think the offense, especially Jalen Hurts, he's been a turnover machine this season, and I really think like that hurts teams. I mean, you don't want to turn the ball over constantly because that means you don't score points. You don't score offensive points. And no, take me the bearer of bad news, but don't have an offense, can't win games.
And Sammy, Baker Mayfield with 347 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Mike Evans still balling out after all these years. We see it happen every single season. Mike Evans is just a stud.
Mr. Consistency. I mean, you think about this guy. This guy is one of the best Bucs of all time. You think about all of them. You think about, Big Mike Aslot. You think about all, Warren Sapp. You think about every great. You have to mention Mr. Mike Evans up there.
Absolutely.
And I think now we can start having realistic conversations. I think Baker's in the MVP conversation, at least this year. I mean, what he is doing leading this squad through a competitive NFC is truly remarkable. Like, for somebody with Baker's past, bouncing around teams, I think he's a realistic MVP candidate this year.
I 100% agree with you, Alex. It's so awesome to see that Baker Mayfield has finally found a home here in Tampa Bay. He finished the day with 347 total yards and 3 touchdowns. He had 2 touchdowns in the first quarter.
Yeah, absolute stud.
I really think so. I mean, you look at all these programs, all these football teams. They throw away quarterbacks without even letting them develop, giving them a chance. I think like that is the downfall. Will be the downfall of the NFL.
I 100% agree with you, Sammy.
There's not much more to say about that game. I mean, Sirianni and the Eagles have stuff to talk about, but luckily for the first time I think ever, we're talking about the Raiders winning. The Raiders toppled the Browns yesterday in a 20-16 nail-biting game. Deshaun Watson was 24 for 32 and threw for 176 yards, 1 touchdown, and an interception. Gardner Minshew was 14 for 24 and threw for 130. Now, I ask you, if you look at all the all these coaches talking about what they want to do, they want to say predominantly run. No one wants to throw the ball. It's a chance of interception. But what the Raiders did, the Raiders say we were a run first offense. That's what we said all throughout preseason. And the Raiders just passed 100 rushing yards a game for the 4th game. I mean, wow. If you say Luke Getzky, old offensive coordinator for the Bears, so that's a. But if you say you're a predominantly run team and you throw the ball more than you say you are, I mean, is that really good coaching, or is that just you place falling out?
And it's definitely hard to say, Sammy, but I want to touch a little bit on the Raiders' inconsistency so far this season. I mean, we saw them come out, beat the Baltimore Ravens, who just dominated the Bills. Maybe we'll get to that a little later, but then they go and lose to the Panthers, the 0-2 Panthers, led by Andy Dalton. I mean, what do you guys think there?
I mean, there's a lot of moving parts on this Raiders offense. I mean, now we have talks that Devontae Adams might not even be playing the rest of the season because he's unhappy with the situation. I mean, just Antonio Pierce, I think, is still trying to gel together this whole squad. I think there's a lot of miscommunications on both ends, offensive and defensively, and I think they need a little bit more time. I don't see them being so much of a threat down the road. I'm so sorry, Sammy, but I think there's too much drama and too much moving pieces going on. down in Las Vegas.
The one thing I will say about Antonio Pierce is that he always figures it out on defense. Last week, after saying that guys made business decisions, his defense bounced back this week. 3 sacks, 1 interception. Tyree Wilson, last year's 7th overall pick, was PFF's player of the game. He finished with 7 pressures, 23.3% pass rush win rate.
I know. You really think about it, the Raiders were down 2 of their best players. Devontae didn't play in that game, and neither did Max. And I really thought the Browns were the best defense in the league last season. I mean, I thought they were going to destroy us, but with the lack of Nick Chubb not being on offense and Amari Cooper disappearing and getting that stupid little interception for us, thank God, we ended up winning. But I don't want to be winning by the seat of my pants anymore.
Fair enough.
Now let's take a trip down to Arizona as the Washington Commanders, led by the dynamic duo of Cliff Kingsbury and Jaden Daniels, completely dismantled the Arizona Cardinals 42-14. Mike, what are your thoughts on the potential offensive rookie of the year?
I mean, Connor, we look at his stats, and he has been so consistent. I mean, the number 2 pick in the draft, obviously, it's kind of what we expected from him, but it's also what we expect from guys like Caleb Williams, other guys that were drafted early in the draft. And so far, I think he is the clear front runner for Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's been dominant, and this offense looks scary. As a Cowboys fan, I am terrified to play the Commanders.
I 100% agree with you. As a Giants fan, I'm very upset that we have to play them again one more time. Jaden Daniels, as we all know, he won the Heisman Trophy last year. He's just been amazing so far. He has a shocking 82% completion percentage through his first 4 games.
Yeah, no. One of the things I said is I think Jaden Daniels is legit. That's something we already know. But after that offensive showcase against the Bengals, I was a little like, okay, maybe that's a little bit of a fluke game, not a fluke, but nobody's going to repeat that masterpiece twice. No, he stood on his business, and he completely blew the next week out of the water. Jaden Daniels is here, this offense is here, and I also had some questions about some of the lack of defense, especially giving up that many points to the Bengals, but they proved me wrong and shut down a scrambling Kyler Murray and another Offensive Rookie of the Year candidate in Marvin Harrison. The Commanders are legit.
Well, Marvin Harrison's on the Cardinals, but yes, I agree. I agree. I actually put in my notes the Commanders sneaky with 3 question marks because they look like a scary team. I mean, you think about it, the AFC, we had Tom Brady, we had Patrick Mahomes. And maybe the NFC finally has, Jaden Daniels, someone who owns the NFC, man. I'm so tired of it. But I'm going to go back to even last year's draft. Bryce Young was benched for Andy Dalton, a 14-year vet, and I mean, he was supposed to be set up for success, and C.J. Stroud ended up winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. We may be seeing deja vu. I hope we do.
And can we touch a little bit on the Cardinals? What is going on with them? I mean, week 1 they came out, had a beautiful game, played really well, and got a win, and since then it's just been going downhill pretty steadily.
Inconsistency. So, boys, after a super promising win over the Pats last week, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets put up a stinker of a performance at home against Denver. Guys, with a very talented roster, is it time to start panicking about the Jets coaching staff?
Now, I will say this, it is early, it is week 4. Aaron Rodgers missed a lot of time in minicamp to go on his trip to Egypt. Now, with all that being said, Aaron Rodgers is set to turn 41 years old in December. He is clearly playing on the back 9 with at most, let's say, if we're lucky, 2 more years of Aaron Rodgers. This has to be a win-now window with this team, especially with Rodgers' cap hit over the next few seasons. I really think it's time to start asking some tough questions in Florham Park.
Oh, I fully agree. I mean, before we even talk about the coaching staff, the Jets' offensive line let A-Rod get sacked 5 times that game. 5 times. I mean, you're lucky if you see 2 or 3 in a game. I mean, the Jets are supposed to be a super team, and they were talking about this all throughout the offseason, and now it's kind of, push comes to shove, they're falling over.
And Alex, I'm not going to lie to you. I know you're a Jets fan. I did not watch a second of this game, and from what I'm looking at on the stats here, this is a snooze fest.
No, absolute snooze fest. I mean, we have talent on our front 9. I mean, we signed Tyron Smith in the offseason. We signed Morgan Moses. We signed John Simpson. Completely revamped this O-line, and they played great against Tennessee. They played great against the Pats. You can't let A-Rod get pressured 15 times in a game. The guy's legs are going to fall off like we saw last year. I mean, No sacks also from the Jets this entire game. That defensive front line is lacking Hassan Reddick, and I think that was very apparent in this showing this week.
That'll be very interesting to watch with his contract holdout. Now, I do also want to say this. It was pouring rain at MetLife Stadium, and normally that calls for a big run offense. But the Jets only rushed for 64 yards, and Aaron Rodgers had 26 of them. Breece Hall, on 10 attempts, averaged 4 total yards. Alex, how do you feel with that performance from your lead back?
Listen, I love Breece Hall. You know, that's the worst game of his career by far. I still have faith in him to be the explosive back that he is. I'm very happy to see Braylon Allen be the power back, kind of the yin to his yang. I think Breece will bounce back and have a great week against the Vikings.
I agree with that, but...
So we're going to take a quick break here on Stick to Sports. Up next, we discuss some of the biggest headlines from both the baseball and basketball world. Stay tuned here on WTOP 10.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Shine on that black.
Look at the bling. Look at do we got a diamond tester on?
Yeah, that's getting bad. Yep.
10
out of 10 recommend on Yelp.
We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. What? I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Hey, why does my face look like that? I'm playing with these new face filters. Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine. I'm gonna need that back. No. Kevin.
Welcome back to Stick to Sports.
The basketball community is mourning the passing of late NBA legend Dikembe Mutombo. Mutombo passed away this morning at the age of 58 from a long battle with brain cancer. Mutombo is a 4-time NBA Defensive Player of the Year and a member of the NBA Hall of Fame. We pay our respects here on Stick to Sports.
Yeah, before we even get into the playing career of Mutombo, he was the NBA's first global ambassador. What that means is he would go to foreign countries promoting the game of basketball and advocating for it, trying to set up gyms and just opportunities to grow the game. And certain big players, international players in today's game, like Joel Embiid and Giannis Antetokounmpo, actually spoke out today and spoke about how important Mutombo was just to their own NBA journey and how without him, they might not even be in the NBA today.
And not only that, Connor, but he was one of the most loved guys in the NBA of all time. I mean, you see clips of him wagging the finger, just a really great guy, seemed like a really good locker room guy and a great person to be around.
And that's not even touching about his defensive. I mean, he's the number 2 shot blocker in the entire NBA, and I think he'll hold that record for a long, long time.
Yeah, we pay our respects here at Stick to Sports to Dikembe Mutombo.
Big news came out of the NBA late Friday night as the New York Knicks acquired big man Karl Anthony Towns from the Minnesota Timberwolves in exchange for Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, and a 2025 top 13 projected first-round pick. Alex, I'm going to start with you, being a diehard Knicks fan.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this massive roster shakeup for the Knicks?
So it's definitely a change in our identity, and I think that's the biggest part here. We become one of the most expensive teams now holding, I mean, Brunson took that huge pay cut, which is huge, but we hold that OG contract, and now we hold a I think you said $220 million contract. I mean, that's insane. I like it. I think Cat is a good stretch five and good fit for the Knicks, but I'm not sure how I feel about the culture change. Yeah, I think I'll have to see that in action first.
I agree. I remember seeing a meme on Instagram saying the Knicks were going to win with the power of friendship, because they all the Villanova boys. But I'm actually really upset. I'm a Knicks fan. I'm upset because I just bought a signed Dante DiVincenzo jersey over the summer, and now he's not even on the Knicks anymore. So you can imagine my pain.
Bad investment.
And absolutely, boys, the loss of Julius Randle and Dante is definitely going to hurt the Knicks a little bit, but I think Cat can come in and make a big change here. And oh my God, in an absolute thriller this afternoon, the New York Mets clinch a wild card spot in Game 1 of their doubleheader against the Braves. Let's go to Alex with his reactions after today's huge win.
It was one of the most electric games I've ever watched. I mean, I shouldn't say it. I was watching the game in class, but a 8-7 victory over the Braves, and MVP Lindor was on full showcase in this game. I mean, oh my God, the momentum that the Mets came out with in the second half of the season was truly, truly insane to watch. And if it wasn't for, a certain Ohtani having a historical season, I think Lindor's name would be right at the top there in the MVP. What he's been doing for the Mets has been something that we haven't seen in a while in this Mets culture.
I agree with you 100%. Lindor today accounted for 3 of the Mets' RBIs and even had a 2-run home run in the top of the 9th when the Mets are down to their final 2 outs, potentially missing the postseason. Mm-hmm. Now, let's move on to the final National League wildcard spot as the Braves beat the Mets 3-0 to secure their spot in the postseason. Alex, what are your thoughts on the way Game 2 played out?
So Game 2, obviously not as exciting as that first game. I mean, it's hard to top that. But the Braves had a very dominant showcasing, dominant starting pitching. Marcell Ozuna, the teddy bear, had a great performance. He went 0 for 5 in his first game in the doubleheader, but he stepped up with a very clutch 2-run single in the second game to split and secure their spot in the playoffs. I mean, he is doing everything he can as their DH, and he is such a versatile hitter, and he will come up in big spots in the postseason.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't really watch the Mets a whole lot. I'm a Yankees guy, but I know that this game was huge playoff implications. And I believe the first game they played, it was a comeback victory the Mets had. It was crazy. I was also maybe not watching it in class, but it was crazy. It was a good game.
And what a turn of events we've had this past week or so. The games being delayed because of Hurricane Helene, and then them being played this week, and that doubleheader today, both teams splitting the series, and both teams making it to the playoffs, knocking out the Diamondbacks. I mean, it's just an electric way to end the regular season.
Absolutely. Oh, the Yankees. The Yankees clinched their AL1 seed late Saturday night after the Houston Astros defeated the Cleveland Guardians. I'm going to throw it I have a question for you. If you're Aaron Boone and your team's number 1 seed in the offense, or number 1 seed in the AL, what do you tell him? What do you think?
Well, I'm sure this isn't the best coaching advice because Aaron Boone probably wants to keep the boys calm, but it's all or nothing for the Yanks this year. This is the only year that you know for a fact that you're going to have Juan Soto as your starting right fielder. I'm going to be honest, guys. What's stopping from Steve Cohen from saying, here, Juan, here's a blank check, and Hal Steinbrenner can't compete with that. So they have to go all in this year. This is really World Series or bust, in my opinion. I know we say that every year with the Yankees, but the fact that you might not have one of the most generationally best players to ever play the game on your team next year, I think it's all or nothing.
And Connor, you mentioned this every year. The Yankees kind of get the fans' hopes up every single year. They make good runs. They have games where they look terrible, and then they make it to the playoffs for the most part, and then every year, for the most part, we see them just kind of crash and burn when they get there. Do you think something's going to change this year, Alex?
The biggest thing that I fear with the Yankees is their relief pitching. That is my biggest concern. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope Luke Weaver is the real deal.
We do have to take a quick break, but when we come back, we've got plenty more to talk about. Don't go anywhere.
you. This is your channel 2. With sports and news and what to do, we're here for you. It's your TV, you're watching WTLP. Your TV, thanks for watching WTLP.
And welcome back to Stick to Sports. It's time to move to something new, something never before covered here on Stick to Sports. It's the WWE. Connor, what's going on this weekend?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this Saturday, live from Atlanta, Georgia, we have WWE Bad Blood, where we have two major matches. The first being Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk in a steel structure match.
A steel structure match. I'm excited for that one, Connor.
I'm so excited. I'm a massive CM Punk fan. I think he's going to show up, and I think he's going to take the trilogy 2-1 against Drew McIntyre.
And then in a tag team match, on one side, we've got Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. And on the other side, we've got Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa, the new Tribal Chief.
The Timu Tribal Chief. With all that being said, I honestly don't see there being any way to stop the dynamic duo of Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns.
Absolutely not. I mean, we saw WrestleMania 38, WrestleMania 39, WrestleMania 40, those two going at it for hours, and it's been some of the best fights I've ever seen. And Connor, I don't think Jacob and Solo can do it.
I know Jacob Fatu is a completely different animal. He no-sells moves like it's going out of style, but that being said, when you have number 1 and number 2 in the company, number 1 is inexchangeable, I don't see how he gets it done.
And let's take a moment to acknowledge the real OTC, Roman Reigns. Fingers in the air, gentlemen. Let's go to camera 2, please.
Acknowledge him.
I acknowledge you, my Tribal Chief.
No, I don't really know a lot about WWE. I've been getting more into it recently, but Cody Rhodes, how do you guys feel that he finished the story? I mean, last WrestleMania was crazy last year. Lady Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, bro, that was wild.
So Sammy, I'll be honest with you. Up until WrestleMania 40, I was not a huge fan of Cody Rhodes. I was a huge Roman Reigns fan, and he's been starting to grow on me a little more. I've been watching it with one of my friends, Lucas McGarry, a member of WTOP. And yeah, I've started to like him a lot more, and I'm really excited for this match Saturday. Connor?
Me too. But one thing we all can't deny is Cody's toughness and resiliency to keep fighting, keep pushing forward. And that he's been dealing with this bloodline, this fake bloodline, for months. And I really think we're going to see a dominant performance.
Well, I'm not going to lie to you. I've never watched WWE in my life, but it sounds absolutely electric. But we're going to take a quick break here on Stick to Sports. When we get back, we'll give our NFL picks for this weekend. So stay tuned here on WTOP 10.
Jill told me it was Kitty from Glee. Yeah, what is it?
Al Roker.
We're here for you, we're here for you. This is your channel 2. With sports and news and what to do, we're here for you. It's your TV, you're watching WTLP. Your TV, thanks for watching WTLP.
What's going on?
Yeah, dude, we go on at like 11:30. It's like
No.
What do you mean no?
It's 10:30.
10:30?
Yeah, it's 10:30.
What do you mean it's 10:30?
Hey, don't touch that. That's my ladder.
Hey, man.
Whoa.
Did you know this book was already discounted 10%?
Wow.
Wow.
Get a close up of that one.
Broadcast news.
Look at that.
Can we go back inside? I want to sleep in the studio again.
Welcome back to Stick to Sports. It's our final segment, so you know what that means. It's picks time. First up, we got a decades-old rivalry as the Dallas Cowboys are taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll kick things off. Give me Pittsburgh. Nah! Give me Dallas! Give me Dallas, baby. I chose Dallas 27-24. I mean, if you're a Raiders fan, you gotta hate the Steelers, right? Immaculate reception. I wasn't even alive. I won't forgive it.
You're absolutely right. You do have to hate the Steelers, but I got Pittsburgh in this game. There's going to be no Trayvon Diggs, there's going to be no Micah Parsons, and there's going to be no DeMarcus Lawrence. That Cowboys defense could not stop a traffic cone.
Give me Pittsburgh.
I'm going to second you on that, Alex. I honestly think if the Cowboys played any other team with a competent quarterback on Thursday night, that they would have lost. I like Pittsburgh 20-17.
And I'm going to take Dallas 13-10, repping the tie tonight. Going to be a really good defensive game, but give me the Cowboys.
The Buffalo Bills will travel down to Houston, Texas, and take on their former superstar, Stephon Diggs. Boy, what do we think? I think the Bills. This is going to be game of the week, but I think the Bills squeak it out purely on defensive strength. What do you think, Connor?
I agree with you, Alex. I think this is going to be a shootout. I've got Buffalo 33-30.
And guys, this might surprise you a little bit. I'm taking Houston 31-28. I think it's going to be a really good game, but I couldn't let this be a full Bills table.
I have to disagree, Mike. I'm not a big Buffalo Bills fan, but I think Josh Allen's going to have a legacy game against Mr. Whiner, Stephon Diggs. I mean, you think about it. That guy was in the preseason and was mad he wasn't getting receptions. This guy, you can't. Sass is just a killer of teams. It's a locker room cancer.
All right, moving on. After a dominant past 2 weeks, the Baltimore Ravens look to continue their momentum Sunday as they face their division rival, the Cincinnati Bengals. Mike, who do you like?
And Connor, again, I'm going to go for the upset here. I got the Bengals 27-26. I think it's going to be a really good game. The Ravens coming off really hot game against the Bills. They destroyed them, but I think the Bengals are going to get it done. Sammy?
Oh, wow. I loved watching that Baltimore Raiders game. I mean, wow. Sorry. Give me Baltimore. Baltimore all the way, bro.
I've been talking about defenses overpowering. The Bengals actually might be the worst defense I've seen this year. The offense showed life last week, but I think that Ravens defense is too much for Joe Burrow. Give me the Ravens.
I like King Henry and the Ravens, 28-24.
And last game, I'm going to go with the LA Rams. We got the Packers and the Rams, and I'm going to take the Rams 35-31.
Both teams have a lot of injured players. Christian Watson went down yesterday. I think it's going to be, I don't want to say trash bowl, but I think it's going to be a lot of third and fourth stringers trying to step up. But at the end of the day, give me Green Bay 18-12.
I also have Green Bay, Sammy. I agree with you, and I think this is going to be a complete coach-off. I think Matt LaFleur versus Sean McVay is going to be a great battle. I think it's going to be the battle of schemes and the battle of injured players, as we touched on before. But I have Green Bay solely off of Jaden Reed and a couple of weapons that they got on that side. Give me the Packers.
Both teams are dealing with injuries, but the Rams have a healthy starting quarterback. I'll take Matthew Stafford. Give me the Rams 24-21.
And I will add in this one last thing. It's going to be tough. No Cooper Kupp this weekend, so the Rams are going to have to find someone to get it done. But that will do it for Extra Innings tonight, as that's all the time we have on today's episode of Stick to Sports. But be sure to tune back in on Monday, October 14th for our next episode. Have a good night, everybody.